Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why some memories just stick while others vanish? Or why some people seem to learn faster than others? This new study dives deep into that mystery using a cool brain-computer model. So, imagine your brain is like a super organized filing cabinet for memories. This research paper talks about a model called ACT-R. Think of ACT-R as a very detailed map of how our memory works, especially for facts. Normally, when scientists study memory, they look at lots of people together, like an average. But this paper asks a big question individually because everyone's memory is a little bit different. Right? Some people forget things faster, some retrieve them quicker. So they developed a new way to use this ACT-R model to understand each person's unique memory quirks. The core idea is that memory isn't just one thing, it is a bunch of different processes working together. They focus on a specific part of ACT-R called the Declarative Memory Module. This is where we store facts and knowledge. This module has several settings or parameters like knobs on a control panel that control how memory works. They zoom in on 6 key knobs. First, there is the speed of forgetting, which, you guessed it, controls how fast memories fade. Then there is a fact level offset, which means some facts might naturally fade slower or faster than others for a specific person. They also look at the retrieval threshold, which is like the minimum effort needed to pull a memory out. Think of it as how hard you have to search your filing cabinet before you give up or find it. There is also activation noise, which is like random static interfering with your memory retrieval. The latency factor influences how quickly you can access and process a memory once you found it. And finally, non-retrieval time, which is all the stuff happening before and after memory retrieval, like seeing the question and getting your answer ready. This is basically your general quickness in thinking and moving. The tricky part is that these knobs can influence each other. For example, if you forget something faster, you might need to search harder to find it, or it might just feel slower. So instead of guessing or adjusting one knob at a time, the researchers used a clever math trick called maximum likelihood estimation, or MLEE. In super simple terms, they made the ACT-R model predict how someone would perform on a memory test, and then they tweaked all the knobs at the same time to see which combination best matched the actual data. They did this over and over, alternating between adjusting the general memory knobs and the fact-specific ones, until they found the best fit. This is called alternating maximum likelihood estimation, or AMLE. To see if their new method actually worked, they first ran a test on fake data. They created virtual participants with known memory settings. Then they fed this fake data into their AMLE system and saw if it could correctly figure out those original settings. They found that with a reasonable amount of data, about 40 to 90 observations per person, their system could pretty accurately figure out the individual memory knobs. This showed their method was promising. Interestingly, in their simulation, the non-retrieval time, that is the general quickness of thinking and moving, and the speed of forgetting were the most important to get right first. This makes sense. If someone's just generally slow to respond, that affects the whole timing of things. Then, the other memory knobs started to become important. They also figured out how much data you really need. It turns out that the more times you practice recalling something, the better they can figure out your specific memory settings. They found that around 4 to 6 repetitions per fact, spread across about 10 to 15 different facts, gave them pretty reliable estimates. This is doable in a short 8-minute learning session. Now for the real-world test. They applied this method to a group of people with mild cognitive impairment, or MCI, and a group of healthy older adults. MCI is a condition where people have more memory problems than usual, but it is not full-blown Alzheimer's. The researchers wanted to see if their detailed memory model could spot differences between these groups. And they found some really interesting things. First, just like previous studies, they confirmed that people with MCI had a higher speed of forgetting. Their memories faded faster, but their fancy new method also revealed more. They found that the latency factor was higher in the MCI group. This means their retrieval process, the act of pulling a memory out, was less efficient. And their non-retrieval time was also higher, suggesting slower general thinking and motor speed. So it wasn't just about forgetting faster, but also about struggling to access those memories efficiently and being generally slower in their responses. This gives a much richer picture of what is going on in the minds of people with MCI than just looking at a single memory score. They even used these individual memory knob settings to try and predict whether someone had MCI or was a healthy control. They found that the latency factors, that retrieval efficiency, and the speed of forgetting were the most powerful predictors. Together, these two provided a really accurate way to tell the groups apart. This is super important because it suggests that by just having someone do a short memory task, we might be able to get a good idea of their cognitive health. What does this all mean for us? Well, this study shows that looking at individual memory differences, not just group averages, can reveal a lot about how our brains work. For people with conditions like MCI, it suggests that memory problems are complex, involving not just forgetting, but also the speed and efficiency of retrieving memories and even general processing speed. This kind of detailed individual-focused modeling could revolutionize how we understand and even diagnose memory-related issues. Imagine a quick computer test that, instead of just giving you a score, gives you a profile of your memory strength and weaknesses, like how fast you forget, how quickly you can access information, and how sharp your thinking is. This could lead to more personalized learning strategies or earlier and more precise clinical diagnosis. Of course, no study is perfect. The researchers point out that sometimes parameters can be hard to disentangle. For example, if someone is generally slow, it might look like they forget faster or vice versa. They also mentioned that sometimes people just aren't paying attention, and this model doesn't perfectly capture those moments of distraction. Future research could try to build in ways to account for these off-task moments more directly. Overall, this is a really exciting step towards understanding memory, not as a single entity, but as a complex interplay of different cognitive processes, unique to each of us. It opens up possibilities for better education, personalized learning, and more nuanced clinical assessments. What do you think about this approach to understanding memory? Are you curious about your own memory settings? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more fascinating insights into the world of psychology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.